Hello, everyone. This is my review of Star Trek Into Darkness. Now, before I start this review, I'd like to tell you that there's going to be a lot of spoilers in this. So if you have not seen, Into Darkness, don't watch this video. If you have seen it, continue watching. Excuse me. I will give you the plot of the movie. Captain James T. Kirk is after this guy named John Harrison, played by Benedict Cumberbatch, because he kills a couple of Federation commanders and stuff like that. He even kills a Commander Pike. And Kirk says, I want to personally go after him. And there's your movie. There's your plot. Pretty basic when you get right down to it. I'm not going to talk about the other Star Trek movies because I don't want to go on way too long. But I will talk about the first J.J. Abrams Star Trek, which I kind of enjoyed. I know for fans of the original movie, or of Star Trek, it was very polarizing. You either got people who really loved it or they really hated it. And I think for me, Star Trek is probably, at least J.J. Abrams' Star Trek, it is the definition of a summer movie. You want shit blowing up, you want funny comedy, you want a good story, and you want to leave out of there happy. And I think that's what the first movie does, and to a certain extent, that's what Into Darkness does. But I'll give you my opinion of Into Darkness off the bat. I really enjoyed it, but I think the first one is a lot better, and let me tell you why. Because the first one I felt was a kind of original. I thought, even though it's a reboot, they did some really good things. Like, it was the first time we actually saw Captain Kirk's father, and that was a great scene in the first movie. It was well done. Even though the bad guy, Nero, I think his name was in the first movie, even though he was a pretty weak villain, it was still fun. I mean, it was a fun movie. I mean, that's the best way to describe the first Star Trek movie, is fun. And that's what I can say about this movie, is that it's fun. I want to see it again. But, now, like I said, this was going to be filled with spoilers. And they do something in here that kind of makes me upset. But if you're still watching this and you can't read the title, there is going to be spoilers. I'm warning you. Seriously warning you. Okay. So, John Harrison reveals himself to be Khan. That's not what makes me upset. In fact, I actually thought it was kind of genius that he's Khan. Because I think, because Benedict Cumberbatch is so phenomenal in this. Every time he's on screen, he steals it. He steals every scene that he's in. You know how in The Dark Knight, how when Heath Ledger comes on and he just takes the fucking movie away from Batman? This is kind of what this movie is. Now, I'm not saying it's The Dark Knight. I'm not saying it's not. But in terms of a bad guy, Cumberbatch comes in and is just awesome. He's just an awesome fucking actor in this. I even think this is his first major movie role. But anyway, he does a great job. And I wasn't upset about the whole Khan thing. I really wasn't. Here's what made me upset and kind of sick. What they do in the third act is unnecessary, and the final climax is a waste of time. And let me tell you why. If you've seen Wrath of Khan, which I know a lot of younger people have not, and if you have, you probably don't remember it because you're too young. Remember when, Spock dies and they do the little, window thing where they put their hands. I can't do the Spock thing or the Vulcan, whatever the fuck it is. But they do that, and they do it in this, except it's the opposite. Kirk is dying, but Spock is alive and well. Because Kirk sacrifices himself to, save the Enterprise. And he does this by going into the reactor type of thing that, activates all their shield, the weapons, and all that stuff. He does that, and he gets blasted forward, and he's gasping for air. So they go to each other up in the window because he's dying, and they put their hands together. Then Spock looks down. Then he goes up and he says, "Khan!" And I'm like, oh no, he fucking didn't just do that. Oh, he just did it. He fucking did it. And you want to know what's funny too? I knew from the first trailer of this movie, I knew that Benedict Cumberbatch's character was going to be Khan. I just knew for some weird reason he was going to be Khan. But, excuse me, I didn't expect this. It's one thing to have an Easter egg. It's another thing to have the whole fucking basket. It is just ridiculous how much lengths they would go to reference the Wrath of Khan and put Khan in your movie again and then quote one of the most iconic fucking lines in the movie. If you're gonna do it, at least have Kirk do it. It would have been bad, but at least have Kirk do it. Here, Spock doing it just doesn't make any sense to me. And the reason why I say the climax is unnecessary, because Kirk is dead. And Spock is chasing after Khan in San Francisco. And he's chasing him, and they're trying to figure out a way to rescue Kirk. And it's told in the movie that Khan's blood kind of regenerates because he's a superhuman. And Bones tested on some rabbit or squirrel or whatever the fuck it was, and it comes back to life. So, let me get this straight. Remember when Khan says that all those guys in the missile pods or whatever, they're pretty much like him. Except, I guess Khan's smarter or whatever. But if they're the same type of person as Khan is, then why couldn't they just wake up one of those guys, take their blood, and give it to Kirk? Now, I understand, Spock would still have to chase after Khan. I understand that. But Spock could have killed Khan in this. But he doesn't because they need his blood in order to bring back Kirk. So all the emotion and shit is thrown out the window. At least I felt. So I thought the third act of this movie was kind of disappointing. But I'm not going to forget the other two acts. The first two acts of this movie, I was having a good fucking time. Just like in the first movie, I was having a lot of fun. There was some good banter, there was some good action, good dialogue, great acting by, like I said, by Benedict Cumberbatch. It's a fun movie. If you see this movie at a full price or whatever, you're not going to be disappointed, at least I think. But for the Star Trek fans, if you've seen the first Abrams movie and you're like, it's not like the old days, then this is no different. In fact, I think that this will kind of piss you off a lot more. But for the mainstream audience, if you just want to have a good time, if you want to just see shit blow up, if you want to see good comedy, if you want to see good action, then this is it. This is pretty good entertainment, at least for me. What other things do I need to bring up in this review? I'm not a huge fan of when they try to convince Spock to let out his emotions. I think that's done a lot. It's something that we don't need to see all the time. You know what I mean? I've never liked Spock and Uhura together. I mean, not because they're bad actors, but I just don't like the idea of those two together. It's not a white and black thing, trust me. I'm all for that. I've dated a couple black girls before in the past, but in terms of the movie, and in terms of the characters themselves, I just don't see it mixing and matching. They added some new girl in this. I forget her name off the top of my head. I know I'm not that smart of remembering characters' names, but she is very attractive. But I just found her a throwaway type of character for me. We do see a whole lot of Gotti in this, which is a very good thing because he's funny as fuck. We see Chekhov a little bit, but we don't see him like we did in the first movie. Bones is barely in this, which that's kind of disappointing because I loved him in the first one. We get to see a lot of Sulu in this, which is cool. I like Sulu. I like the job that John Cho does. I'm not going to call him Harold from Harold and Kumar. I'm going to call him by his real fucking name. Zoe Saldana as Uhura, like I said, she's good. But it's just that romantic love thing. I don't care for. And Zachary Quinto as Spock, I think he does a fantastic job. I really do. I hear people talking shit about him, and I'm like, are you kidding me? This dude is great. And Chris Pine as Kirk, I had mixed feelings about him in the first movie. I thought he was kind of annoying and obnoxious, but he was kind of cool. This movie, he's kind of obnoxious in the first act in the movie, but he gets way better when it goes on. I think they did a better job with his character than they did in the last movie. That's really it. I mean, the only spoilers I have is that Pike dies. Excuse me. That John Harrison is actually Khan from The Wrath of Khan. That Spock says, Khan! It made me sick to my stomach. And the third act, which is kind of forgettable, and it gets lost within itself. But I still enjoyed the movie a lot. Now, I have to give a rating, obviously. For a summer movie, it's 2 thumbs up. Absolutely. I mean, like I said, if you want to see shit blow up and crap, if you want to see some good action, go see this. Go see it. It's a lot of fun. I urge you to see it. I'm probably going to see it again. For my rating, I'm going to give it 2 thumbs up because I still think that the first 2 acts of this movie are very, very, very good. But the third act is a little bit disappointing. But that being said, I'm not going to ignore what came before it, and it's a lot of fun. You get to see Klingons in this one, and it's good to finally see those until they get ass fucked by Khan. Holy shit, that scene is awesome. But so that's my review of Star Trek Into Darkness. It's a very good summer movie. Go watch it. It's a lot of fun. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like to see more, subscribe to me. If you have any questions, comment or tweet me. I have the links at the bottom. But as for me, I'm done. Thank you so much for watching. I am JustinSlaght. Take care.